Hey guys, looking to get the best GPU for your Ryzen 7 5700X 3D in 2024? I've got you covered. After extensive research, I've picked the top 3 graphics cards to pair with the 5700X 3D that'll make your gaming smoother than ever. Trust me, you won't want to miss our number 1 pick, so stick around, and if you find this helpful, please like, subscribe, and feel free to share your opinion in the comments below. Price information and all GPUs mentioned in the video are available in the description. Let's jump right in. Number 3. ASRock AMD Radeon RX 6750 XT Challenger Pro 12GB. Best budget GPU for Ryzen 7 5700X 3D. The ASRock AMD Radeon RX 6750 XT Challenger Pro builds upon the refresh of the 6700 XT from AMD, the RX 6750 XT. AMD increased the stock boost clock along with a higher memory clock of 18 gigabits per second, resulting in decent performance gains that really aren't disappointing. ASRock further boosts these clocks, pushing the card to its limits. To start off with the design and aesthetics of the card, it doesn't look bad by any means. You get a triple fan design with the ASRock Challenger branding, along with white patterns across the front to avoid the more linear look and feel of the card. On the backplate, ASRock is following its usual stripe design with a relatively new huge gap behind the third fan that allows for more airflow and should improve the thermal efficiency of the card. In terms of measurements, the card takes 2 PCIe slots, and it is a bit on the longer side due to the usage of 3 fans. Moving on to performance, AMD markets the 6750 XT as their 1440p king. ASRock has increased the boost clock by around 1%, carrying it to 2618 MHz from the reference value of 2600 MHz. Beginning with 1080p, the card performs surprisingly well, while outperforming competitive rivals like the RTX 3060 Ti. On average, you're looking at a comfortable frame rate of more than 120 FPS in almost all of the newest AAA games at high settings. On 1440p, you get an average frame rate of around 70 when tested on demanding titles like the Red Dead Redemption 2 or Cyberpunk 2077. All of this at a much cheaper price point than the 3060 Ti with better performance. Now, for the card to perform on this level, you're going to need a solid cooling solution. ASRock doesn't let go of the rope in this area as well, by using 3 striped axial fans for maximizing the overall airflow. On top of this, the usage of premium thermal pads and 3 copper wires with a design that maximizes contact with the GPU keeps the thermals low and at an acceptable range. Under intensive gaming sessions, you're looking at an average of 73 degrees Celsius temperature. However, the hotspot can be slightly on the higher side at times, ranging between 85 to 90 degrees Celsius. This is something to keep in mind if you're someone who overclocks their cards to the maximum limit. That said, the fan noise stays low and is not really audible, leaving room for potential tuning there. For power, the card is rated at 250 watts TDP, and you're going to need a minimum 600 watt PSU to power it up. This is provided via 2 8-pin connectors, which I think is a better option than the new 12-volt high-power connectors, which can raise compatibility issues on power supplies. In terms of output from the card, you get 1 HDMI 2.1 port with 3 DisplayPort 1.4a ports, a solid combination even there. To summarize, the ASRock AMD Radeon 6750 XT Challenger 12GB is a great option for budget cards, allowing you to enjoy smooth gameplay at 1440p with even superior performance at 1080p. On top of this, an adequate cooling solution allows you to game freely for hours without any worries of thermal throttling. Number 2. ZOTAC Gaming GeForce RTX 4070 Ti Super Trinity. Best premium GPU for Ryzen 7 5700X 3D. The ZOTAC Gaming GeForce RTX 4070 Ti Super Trinity is based on the second entry to the RTX 40 Super series, providing more performance at the same price point by altering the specs. Based on the Ada Lovelace architecture, the card is an absolute powerhouse in performance, capable of running games even at 4K resolutions, while it's being marketed for maxed out 1440p gaming. The card uses the AD103 chip, which is also being used by Nvidia in their 4080s, so you can expect to closely match the performance of an RTX 4080. This switch also leads to a larger memory bus at 256-bit compared to the 192-bit of the RTX 4070 Ti, along with an increase in the overall memory bandwidth, boosting it to a total of 16 GB from 12 GB. Looking at the design of the card, it absolutely looks phenomenal, with lots of RGB, an impressive triple fan setup, and an overall oval-shaped design compared to the more traditional rectangle. On the top, you get ARGB lighting with the ZOTAC gaming branding that the company is calling Spectra. The fans are shallow with a deeper shroud design, with a rigid backside that portrays the ZOTAC logo in RGB. In measurements, the card is 119mm wide, so you can expect it to take up to 2.5 PCIe slots. Coming onto performance, it goes without saying that you'll not be disappointed. The card is using the stock reference boost clock, which is understandable for a Ti Super variant that has already been uplifted by Nvidia. In raw gaming performance across multiple games, it provides an almost 4% performance uplift from the RTX 4070 Ti, while completely outclassing its counterparts from AMD, like the RX 7800 XT, by around 17%. You're looking at an average of 135 FPS in 1440p across multiple AAA titles, along with a shockingly good average of 80 FPS at 4K resolution. The card also goes head-to-head with the Radeon RX 7900 XT, beating it in some games, while being outclassed in others. This comes down to optimizations from the developer for a specific chipset, leading to variable results across different games. What remains consistent, though, are the thermals. With a triple fan design rotating in alternate directions to increase the airflow, along with a total of 9 copper heat pipes to dissipate the heat, it isn't a surprise to say that the thermal levels remain at a low range of about 70 degrees Celsius, while the hotspot reaches around 83 degrees Celsius. ZOTAC is using vibration dampeners to help reduce the fan noise levels, along with 2 ball bearings to improve the overall lifespan. This leads to a quiet operation experience, where the fans are nearly not audible. As for power, the card is rated at 285 watts TDP, with a minimum PSU requirement of 600 watts. You'll need a single 16-pin connector to provide this power. Fortunately, ZOTAC includes a 2x 8-pin to 16-pin power connector in the box, so you're covered there as well. In terms of connectivity, you're looking at a single HDMI 2.1 port, along with 3 DisplayPort 1.4a ports with support for up to 8K resolution. Another neat little feature is the presence of dual BIOS, allowing you to change between distinct BIOS modes. This can be controlled from either the physical button on the card or via the ZOTAC Gaming Firestorm software. In short, if you're targeting 1440p gaming at max settings, the ZOTAC Gaming GeForce RTX 4070 Ti Super Trinity is the perfect card for you, backed by the sheer performance of the Super Series card and an outstanding cooling performance to facilitate long gaming sessions without any issues whatsoever. Number 1. Asus Dual RX 7800 XT O16G 16GB. Our top choice. The Asus Dual Radeon RX 7800 XT OC is a high-performance card based on the newest RDNA 3 architecture of the Navi 32 family. This card performs exceptionally well for its price, and AMD might have finally figured out the recipe here. From a design perspective, the card looks professional and simplistic. It has a dual-fan setup, as is apparent from the naming, with the conventional black theme throughout the card. That said, the front has a distinct design element through various patterns and cuts to avoid that plain, boring feel. On the top, along with the usual Asus and Radeon branding, there are more subtle cuts that reveal the heatsink, deviating from the typical design found in most cards. The backplate is reinforced by aluminum, which adds to the rigidity of the PCB. Performance, however, adds to the appeal of the card on another level. To begin with, the boost clock has been boosted by around 6% by Asus from the factory overclock, uplifting it to 2565 MHz. The core count on the card is lesser than the predecessor, the RX 6800 XT, along with other specs, which could lead you to believe the actual predecessor of this card is the RX 6800. Dodging the marketing gimmick here, thanks to the newer architecture, the card outperforms the RX 6800 XT with a performance increase of around 7 to 8%. This is impressive, considering the 6800 XT still retails for a similar price. Looking through the lens of a rivalry with NVIDIA, the card outputs more performance than the RTX 4070 and 3080, ranging from a performance difference of 9 to 12%. Even at 4K high settings, you're able to achieve playable frame rates and a relatively smooth experience. While you receive this power, the card is kept under control by two AxialTech fans that create an increase in air pressure, allowing for more heat to dissipate. The fans also contain dual ball bearings that increase the overall lifespan, along with an onboard controller that controls the speed of the fan automatically per the thermals to minimize the fan noise levels, improving the acoustics of the card. As a cherry on top, there's quite an overhead for overclocking and tuning here, allowing you to push the performance even further. In terms of power specifications, you're looking at a TDP value of 300 watts, with a minimum PSU wattage required of 700 watts. Fortunately, Asus has decided to use a 2x 8-pin power connector for the card, which is surely more appreciable than the newer 12-volt high-power power connector, enhancing the backward compatibility with older PSUs. Finally, for output, you get a single HDMI 2.1a port, along with 3 DisplayPort 2.1 ports, which should be able to power any monitor you wish to throw at it. In summary, the Asus Dual Radeon RX 7800 XT OC is a solid graphics card to pair with the 5700X 3D, providing decent performance at 4K resolution while effortlessly handling lower resolutions. In addition, pairing it up with an AMD processor enables the usage of new tech like AMD Smart Memory, which can potentially provide a boost in some games. Thanks for watching. I hope this helped you find the perfect GPU for your Ryzen 7 5700X 3D. But wait, there's more. We've got tons of other videos packed with suggestions and reviews that you won't want to miss.